So today I want to talk about Hou Tian Peng, okay? It's the second of the Hou Tian Pengs in Gao Bagua, and it's really awesome. So, excuse me. Kai started out with one of the first tools you're going to use for fighting, right? Peng builds one of your best offense and defense frames and teaches you how to move with it. It also shows you how close you really should be in Bagua, you know. So when Gao Shen died, Wu Mengzhe grabbed his manual, had Gao's daughter get her father's manual and bring it to him. He made 3 copies of it, put them on tax accounting books, and they're spread out with a few different of the Gao groups. So my teacher was really lucky enough to get one because his teacher learned from Wu Mengzhe. So the manual, why I'm mentioning that, the manual talks about fighting being like hugging, fighting being like kissing. And we can assume that wasn't because they were being cuddly. That's the distance you should be fighting in. So you're in about here, okay? So a lot of times when you see Gao applications, a lot of them don't make sense when you see people trying to do them at arm's length, right? All this sort of stuff. It doesn't work because you don't get that charging quality, that structured charging Schleifa quality to a lot of Gao applications if you're way out far. So Peng is kind of forcing you to learn to get in. So let's talk about a couple different versions of Peng and see what it actually means and see what you can do with it, because it's a pretty useful tool. So let's start with our Yangban Ho Taiji, okay? Peng is here, right? So I got my fingers pointed at me, and I have this rounded Peng structure. Right, pretty standard for Tai Chi. The Hou Tian Peng is an asking hand, turn, and knock, okay? Those are different, but they're both Peng, so how is that? So Peng on Tai Chi is here, fingers point to the shoulder, palms in, okay? Which is interesting. And then you gotta think about it and you're like, oh, that makes total sense why it's palm in, okay? Because this close in Peng is if I pulled someone really close to me here and I'm unfurling this structure right into them to send them back flying, okay? So pull, boom, right? So again, it's super close. I pulled this guy here, his body's here, this frame pushes back. That's why the standard version of this has palms in, because you're so close, you can't turn it into a hit, right? The Hou Tian Peng is here, and then the palm turns. So they're the same because Peng just means a rounded structure, okay? Peng can be here. You can have double Peng, okay? Frame down low if you needed to, like if someone's shooting in on you, you can frame down low. Peng's super useful. So we understand that Peng just means a rounded structure that you can resist force with, right? Easiest way to understand it, and it takes a lot of the guesswork out of, oh, what's my hand do this, right? So again, it's making contact, shoulder settles into the elbow, turn, knock, okay? So another way to explain this is that if someone's running in, pushing in on me, say let's talk about grappling. If someone's pushing in, right? I'll hold this Peng frame up and step around it, okay? What this allows you to do is put up a really serious defense, a wall, a shield, if you will, and then when they push into it, step out from behind it. Sends them flying, all right? Any jiu-jitsu guys out there, try it when you're standing. Tie up with someone, put Peng in, okay? Put your frame in, and when they push, step. And you will toss them right onto their face, right? Because you give them this big, heavy shield to push against, and a lot of people, inexperienced people, will push against it. Then you step out from behind it and let them fall, okay? So that kind of makes sense, and that's really the genius of Peng, like I mentioned earlier. It teaches you a structure, right? But it also teaches you to move around that structure while keeping it, okay? So being able to have a frame turn directions and still have the same force on your opponent keeps you really safe. It's a good thing to do. Now, let's talk about a couple different ways to do Peng, okay? So this, with palm in, it's great for the form. And it's great because this Peng is really shoulder powered, right? Shoulder and arm. When you're using Peng for more grappling or more offensive type things, which you can, this right here with the palm turned, I really like this one, okay? Because this frame right here, this is so solid. Because when you turn this here, the sharp edge of your forearm is facing forward. Your hand can close, which solidifies all of this, and this is a very strong structure. For example, in jiu-jitsu, they talk about having frames. Frames are structure, right? So if I'm laying on my back and someone's in topside control, right? Their chest is this way, feet are out here. It's a very dominant position. Guys with mass will try and crush you in that position. They'll take your breath away, and that's how they call it cooking the beans. They'll cook you until you break because you can't breathe. The first defense everyone learns is framing, right? Frame on the neck, frame on the hip. You can go here or here. Guess what? That's Peng. It's just Peng applied in jiu-jitsu, which makes sense because jiu-jitsu is judo newaza. It's the ground techniques of judo, specialized out and expanded, right? Where does Japanese martial arts come from? China. So this idea of structure and frames, we actually can see a direct link from China all the way up to modern martial arts, and they all use this idea of a rounded structure. So it's pretty cool, right? A lot of uses. It'll keep people off of you. So again, if someone's pushing you, say, into a wall, you're getting pushed in and you're about to get crushed or pinned and hit, Peng is the frame that creates distance, right? So if I have my left hand up, Peng, distance, safety for me, so this guy cannot crush me, and then you can hit from behind it. So it's really cool. It's not just a shield, it's a shield you can put up and really create a ground path and stop any force coming in and strike around it. Boom, boom, whatever you're gonna do. So I like this. Now, let me offer you a thought. Nothing in the word Peng talks about the hand posture. So your hand posture for Peng should reflect the way you're going to use it, or the way you use applications. So for me, I was a bouncer for a long time, like 20 years, and you have to be aggressive. You got to grab people, restrain them, be aggressive to stop the fight and keep everyone else safe, right? So this Peng is great. You have someone standing in front of you, say there's a wall behind them, you can Peng and put them right into the wall and pin them. And all you have to do is work hand control after that. You can really hold someone. Honest, true story, last night I put Peng into someone right in the base of their throat. They went to sleep because of this powerful force rooted into the ground. They can't get their hands up to really get force in to fight that. They're fighting against a whole body and a frame. It's a bitch. And with this Peng shape, here's my rounded structure. It's also lifting, okay? So you can get under people and lift and actually take them off their feet. And you look at the Tai Chi Fa Jin dudes where they're just bouncing people all over the place. What do they use? They use Peng. Because the basic idea of grabbing someone and then putting this whole frame into them to throw them is really solid. I'm not going to get into the rest of this stuff, but the basic idea is viable. So the last variant I really like to use, this is like your spicy Peng. It's like your assault Peng, like you're just going after someone. Turn the palm out. Again, rounded structure. I still have it. And now my hand's in play. Okay? This makes all the difference in the world. Because Peng here these muscles are all nice and relaxed, which is good. If you're doing Tai Chi, that's what you want to do. You want to be relaxed. But if I'm really trying to smash somebody, I need everything engaged, okay? And we do that by engaging these forearm muscles. Interesting side note, if you look at the praying mantis hook, right? It's a hook that you use. Why does it do this? See my forearm muscles engage right here? This hook is now really strong. This is one solid unit, and it's not going to bend easily. That's why the praying mantis hook is like that, because it engages this. It makes this hook solid. So when you use Peng here, I can grab, poke. You can do whatever you want. You can grab a hold of someone's ear if you want to. It works. I'm doing it. Get a hold of someone, and then when you press in, you can pin the elbow and the hand. Try and push it towards the back wall or whatever you're pinning them against. They're stuck. Now they'll try and kick you, they'll try and hit you, but if you can stop that, they're not going anywhere with this pump, like this frame right here. Because if you grab a hold of them and lock in that structure, no, you've been gotten, and they're going to have to hit you to try and get you to release it. That's how strong it is. Okay. Now the same thing. If we're grappling here, and I go here, and I create Peng structure, right? So, say for example, I do an opening like Hou Tian Song, right? Boom. They push here. I still used Peng, and this can chuck them straight down, kind of the same way we did the pull through earlier, the step out of the way earlier. Having your palm in lets you really throw that. So it gives you more options. And when the hand's facing them, you can use it. Whereas if it's here, you can't use it. Again, I'm not saying Tai Chi is wrong. I'm not saying this is wrong. I'm just saying that, do an aside. Our great-grand teachers, the people who invented our styles, they all put in writing, they want us to be better than them. Now, I certainly don't feel that I'm better than my grand teachers and great-grand teachers or even teachers. I'm not better than they are. But just blindly doing this move here, right, won't get me there either. So the first thing I have to do to even start getting in their realm is opening up my brain to every idea that I can possibly do with every concept that they put down for me, right? So again, nothing in the word Peng says your palm has to be in. Try changing it and seeing the different effects you can get. So if you're doing push hands, when you cross over, turn your Peng out and try and take them this way. Still Peng, okay? Just get the hand across, turn, push. Really solid. And once they get caught by this hook, they're gonna go. And if they're not expecting it, not expecting to get hooked by this frame, you'll toss people off their feet all day long. Just don't do it to the same person 100 times in a row, because they'll see it coming and they'll figure something out. But try these things. So if someone's pressing in on you and they're giving you a hard time with push hands, Peng here and stop them, okay? Peng here and grab them, or get a hold, be able to hook and manipulate them. Try out all the different variations you can of Peng. Again, there's Peng here. You can run it right on the top of someone's head, right? When you're grappling here, and you are keeping them at a distance, and you're also going to crank their head back when you use Peng. It's still Peng, because remember, Peng is just rounded structure. So I think with a little bit of experimentation, you're going to find that you can put Peng everywhere, and it's going to force you to fight in the Gao range. And once you get comfortable in this range and you know that you can keep yourself safe if you're getting over-pressured, all of the other Hou Tian open up. Because as we're going to see, these Hou Tian, again, don't work. If my arm is completely outstretched and their arm's outstretched, we're crossing at our wrist, this Peng structure doesn't do anything. It has to be close. So anyways, I hope you found that interesting. I hope there's some ideas from that you can use and play with and maybe surprise some of your training partners with. Yeah, I hope to see you all training soon. Thank you, my friends.